By the summer of 1944, entire continents are tearing themselves apart. Across Europe and the Pacific, cities are being reduced to ash in a mechanized war of attrition. Far from those front lines, a quieter devastation is sweeping through the fertile province of Bengal. Driven by man-made policies and bureaucratic callousness, millions of Indians are slowly starving to death in the mud outside the palaces of Calcutta. And locked behind the stone walls of Ahmednagar Fort sits Jawaharlal Nehru. Arrested without trial and cut off from all news, a man consumed by the need to act is forced into total paralysis, watching the world burn from a silent cell. Trapped in this physical isolation, the human mind begins to feed on itself. To survive the psychological crush of prison, Nehru focuses backward, launching an intense mental voyage to map the nation he is fighting to free. This isolation is compounded by a deep personal grief. Nehru is still mourning the recent death of his wife Kamala, who passed away while he was trapped in the cycle of arrests and incarcerations. Over 20 years of marriage, Kamala remained somewhat elusive to him, proud, sensitive, and deeply rooted in local traditions. Nehru realizes she mirrored the vast, complex spirit of India itself, a spirit he has struggled to fully grasp. This leads him to a terrifying political realization. Nehru and his fellow middle-class revolutionaries are fighting for independence, yet they are almost entirely alienated from the hundreds of millions of peasant farmers they claim to represent. If the intellectual class leading the charge does not intimately understand the 5,000-year-old civilization they are trying to save, their revolution will fail. They will simply replace foreign oppressors with domestic ones, leaving the brutal machinery of subjugation intact. To diagnose the illness of his country, Nehru looks to its girliest foundations, examining the ancient brick ruins of Mohenjo-Daro to investigate a culture that has endured for 50 centuries. He uncovers a survival mechanism, an unmatched capacity to adapt. For millennia, diverse cultures flowed in, synthesizing into a forward-moving current. But eventually, that current stops. Scientific curiosity fades. Society calcifies into rigid caste structures, crushing the urge to create. By the time European traders arrived, this inward-looking focus on ancient texts resulted in a society where physical innovation had stalled. While Europe mastered new techniques of production and warfare, the subcontinent's systems remained fixed, unchanged for centuries. British military domination is a symptom of this internal decay, not the cause. Expelling the British Army will not cure a society that has forgotten how to move forward. To see if any vital energy remains, Nehru shifts from reading ancient texts to analyzing his own grueling fieldwork, recalling the thousands of miles he traveled across the modern countryside. He catalogs the staggering physical and cultural diversity spanning the map. The customs and faces near the Afghan borders share almost nothing in common with the Tamil populations in the Deep South. Yet, embedded within these isolated villages, he finds deep spiritual traditions, ancient epics, and shared myths shaping the daily lives of the masses, regardless of their specific region or language. Beneath the massive geographic and linguistic fractures, Nehru discovers an invisible, unbroken psychological unity. Over thousands of years, a distinct shared identity has imprinted itself on the entire population. He remembers arriving at a massive outdoor gathering, greeted by thousands of rural farmers roaring a familiar political chant, "Victory to Mother India." Nehru stops the rally. He steps up and interrogates the crowd, asking them to define exactly who or what this Mother India is that they are cheering for. The peasants are confused. Eventually, a farmer suggests it means the physical dirt beneath their feet. Others guess it's the rivers, the local forests, or the mountains of their province. Nehru tells them that while the earth and rivers matter, true Mother India is the faces of the millions of living individuals spread across the land. The people themselves are Mother India. For Nehru, this rumination sharpened the definition of the struggle. If Mother India is the sum of her people, then national victory is measured by the tangible elevation of those specific individuals. The danger of the impending revolution is the illusion of change. Seating Indian officers at the desks of British bureaucrats while maintaining the same oppressive power structure is not freedom. Nehru's strategy for a functioning state depends on two conflicting forces. First, the nation must salvage the ancient cultural unity and the inner spiritual poise that allowed it to endure centuries of upheaval. But that ancient identity must then be locked together with the aggressive pursuit of modern science, technology, and dynamic global action. A civilization cannot survive by romanticizing the dead time of its past. It has to physically master the tools of the present. Written in the suffocating silence of a prison cell, The Discovery of India operates as an urgent act of national psychotherapy. By digging through the rubble of centuries of subjugation, Nehru provided 1 billion fractured people with the exact story they needed to stand up, unify, and claim their place in the modern world.